So it's the Bulldogs against Carlton in perfect conditions at Optus Oval. And we're set for the opening bounce. And Scott Camporelli is being picked up by one of the pests of league football, Tony Liberatore. And the Bulldogs have promised us that they are going to be accountable today, so not necessarily to expect the cricket score that these two teams produced twice last year. Out on the wing, Nicky Winmar being picked up by Dean Rice, two former St Kilda players, now both at different clubs. Liberatore gets the first kick, and the Bulldogs up inside the 50. Grant playing well out from goal. Brown has it for the Blues, but he's got nowhere to go. Whistle, he'll take a free kick. No, the umpire's called for it and is going to ball it up. Hayden Kennedy today with Michael Vozzo and Greg Scroop, the umpires.
On the ball at half forward for the Bulldogs. And the umpire having a word to a couple of players, a pushing, shoving, Murphy and Johnson, two of the products of the under-18 competition, two of their better products. There's been plenty of them. So Darcy flicks it down with the left hand. It's Ramiro with a quick kick down in front of the Bulldogs goal. Sexton trying to desperately get it out. Now it's Bradley. He's ridden into the ground. They pile on top of him. The umpire will come in and bounce.
Yeah, Peter, you're right. Chris Grant is playing at full forward. The interchange bench for Carlton's Brett Backwell, Ron Dulio, Tony Burke and Heath Colpin.
Well, Bradley's hurt here. Now let's hope that he's not serious, and let's hope he's only winded, because he would be a huge loss, and there's a bit of ill feeling out there. He was buried into the ground when he went in for that ball.
There's a bit of history between Romero and Bradley. Bradley actually was last year suspended in this game and got a suspended 2-match sentence.
Well, he's got the job on him again, Jose Ramiro. But the quick kick comes out of the pack down towards the half-forward line, Franchini. It's at Bradley again. This is Camporelli. A long kick down towards the half-forward line. Beaumont and Curley. Curley off the ground. Here's Fraser Brown. They'll welcome his return into the side. He bends it back towards half-forward. Southern tries to tap it away. Taken away by Rowan Smith, who drives it to the centre of the ground.
No score on the board as yet. Ball works to the back. Romero gets Bradley. Bradley hasn't got the ball. And free kick, Craig Bradley. Now, Bradley's got a 2-match suspended sentence hanging over him as a result of an incident with Romero. And the only time he ever got rubbed out was another incident with Romero, and he got a week for it.
So what are you suggesting, Drew?
I say keep watching.
Well, already it's been pretty hot stuff between those two players, Bradley and Ramiro.
Great attempt in by Hamill. Here's Brown. He's in everything already. This is good play. White loses it to Cameron. He's caught. Oh, he just got the hand pass in. Curley. He's caught by McKay. That was good. Now West. Scott West breaking away onto the left. Kicks it to a one-on-one contest. Good spoil. Terrific spoil. Franchina. Oh, that was a bit soft. Franchina's given away the free kick to Brown, who kicked 7 goals last week.
Nathan Brown, this time behind the centre circle. His kick up towards centre half forward. A dive in there by Winmar. Grant. Murphy claiming the free kick. Justin Murphy leads disposals, averaging 32 in the opening 2 rounds.
And obviously Terry Wallace has prioritised Bradley and Camporelli. He's got Ramiro on Bradley, Liberatore on Camporelli, and Franchina is picking up Nathan Brown.
They've been high-scoring rollicks recently, but so far they haven't troubled the scorers. Grant goes back with the hand pass. Montgomery long towards full forward. Carlton have the numbers 2-1. Sexton gets back there, and it misses the behind post, and we'll have a throw-in. So still no score on the board.
Drew, the interchange bench for the Western Bulldogs is Paul Hudson, Scott Wine, Michael Martin and Paul Dimartino.
Beautiful day, currently 23 degrees, expected maximum 24. Here's Allen versus Grant. A good tackle by Grant not to give away that free kick. Quick hand pass comes out around the boundary line. Johnson's going to grab it. Oh, well played by Brad Johnson. And he gains about 10 metres and over the line it goes. No scorers yet, and look at Liberatore and Murphy. I mean, plenty to say to each other.
Well, Murphy's picking up Johnston, or vice versa, and with Libber starting on the ground with Jose, they're back in the fray. The old firm who love tagging and putting the opposition off.
Yes, you can expect it to be really on here. The heat-seeking missiles, as Couchy loves to call them. Hey, Couchy?
That's exactly right, Drew.
Fraser Brown lopes onto this one at half-back. Waits, delivers to centre wing, and McKay takes the mark. Still no score. And we've been playing almost 5 minutes. Kick by McKay. Beautiful conditions here. Marnie takes the mark. Swapped in the off-season from Collingwood. Josh Marnie. Interesting to see the Brownlow medalist Scott Wine starting on the bench.
And also the All-Australian Paul Hudson, who booted 61 goals last year, also on the bench.
I know that Terry Wallace really believes it is a 22-man game, but there are a couple of decent players to have sitting down at the start.
Well, that's Montgomery giving it to Cox. Cox to the half-forward line, hugging the boundary line. Grabbed here for the Bulldogs by Garlick. Kudafiti's on the back line, playing on Grant, it looks like at the moment, and Kuda quite happy to let it roll to the line. Good defensive play. Big job for Kudafiti's, Kevin.
Well, I think it's a fantastic job for him. I know he likes to play up in the midfield, but that particular duel should really sate the appetite, I think, of Anthony Kudafiti's.
Well, the ball's deep in the forward pocket. There's a kick from the boundary up in front of goal, and a nice mark taken by Murphy.
Justin Murphy just keeps on getting where the ball is this year. Had a great start to the season. Goes towards the outer side of the ground. That is beautifully delivered, but Hume drops the mark. Good enough to recover Darren Hume. Up towards midfield. Punch from behind by Curley is good. Ball knocked back. Crunch! Down goes Camporelli.
Well, he's holding his shoulder. Is that Ratton?
I think it's Brett Ratton. That was Curley going high with the punch. Eyes on the ball, no problem at all, but he hit him very hard.
He's pretty tough, Brett Ratton. He'll get back up and play.
Just winded.
And the ball back near centre wing. Murphy once again, back with the hand pass. Camporelli, he was ridden into the ground by Liberatore. He's going to have a tough day, Scott Camporelli. Here's Croft welcoming him back in the side today. He didn't get a hand pass to that. Comes to Cameron, and his hand pass over the line.
Well, no score at the moment. We thought this might be a free-scoring game because the Bulldogs, of course, are a free-scoring side. And last year, Carlton booted 19 goals to half-time, 29 goals to 15. But so far, the matchups are making it very tough for both sides to really get clear and win the ball cleanly.
There's two goers there, Scott West and Fraser Brown. Already Fraser Brown having a real influence on this game. He throws himself into packs, gets the hard ball, and is very, very influential in Carlton's style of play. Darcy versus Allen. That's Rowan Smith. Given out to White. That was from Murphy. Back it comes to half forward. Oh, well read. Fraser Brown. He's playing a very good first turn. Here's Merton on his own. Will it get there? No. He's waiting for a favourable bounce. Oh, he slips over it in an opportune moment. Gives it up to Hamill. Hamill races in the goal. Oh, he's kicked it along the ground when he could have drilled it from 20 metres. What about that one, Kevin?
Well, a wasted opportunity there for Carlton. First of all, Glenn Manton playing in his 100th game. 79 with Carlton, 21 with the Bombers, but just slipped over. I'm not quite certain what sort of stops he's got in his boot. And then Hamill, really on the burst, took the handball. And that was just a shocking kick because he was directly in front, only about 15 metres out. The ball only travelled about 5 metres along the ground.
Leon Cameron, a long kick into play. It comes to Croft, who's had lots of trouble with hamstrings over the years. Smith giving heaps of trouble. Umpire's going to ball it up. The Carlton fans not holding the ball.
I thought he had a chance to get rid of it then. That looked like a throw.
Gee, Ratton has recovered from that solid knock earlier. Great stuff. Romero and Bradley, keep an eye on the contest. Ball comes underfoot. Out goes Ratton from Garlick. Darcy wrestled. The umpire will ball it up again. Murphy came up with it.
Hasn't there been a lot of packs forming, Kevin?
Well, it's the matchups, you see. Ramiro on Bradley, Liberatore on Camporelli, Franchina on Brown, Murphy on Johnston, Kudafiti's on Grant, Garlick on Ratton, and Weston Brown going hammer and tong. There's Brown there, just crashing Ramiro to the ground. It's a silly free kick because they'll reverse it.
A lot of feeling, isn't there?
Yes, they're not happy with each other. I suppose you could say it's the Blue Bloods against the Westies. Maybe there's something about socio-economic differences between the two clubs.
Yeah, good point, Trey.
Up towards centre half forward. Grant palms the ball down. Ellis on the forward line. Smith, a long kicker of the ball right to the goal square and punch through. So it's a point each here. They might have a goalless quarter.
Carlton have had a good defence for a number of years, Kevin, haven't they?
Very strong. Unfortunately, Silvani's not there today. Ange Christo's back in the side, and Kudafi's, of course, playing on Grant. But the Bulldogs play an intimidating style of play, and I think that Carlton are absolutely determined that they're going to match the Western Bulldogs.
Well, Christo kicks out, and I read that beautifully, Glenn Manton. Now, he's playing on here to Sexton. Sexton drives with a low trajectory kick. Bradley playing in front. Did well. Did very, very well. He's got some support from Hume. Hume's got it. Fraser Brown in everything. He was looking for Bradley. Bradley and Ramiro. Oh, that's a free kick to Carlton. In the back on Ratton against Garlick. It'll have to come back. Sexton racing away with the ball. So Brett Ratton looking for an option. Here's a lead. And it's a good lead. And a nice kick that Matthew Allen has marked. That he'll have to kick it 50 metres.
Well, here's a good kick, Matthew Allen. So one would expect that he'd get the distance. We thought before the start of the game that the centre bounce between Scotty Wine with his experience against Matthew Allen, who's a much improved ruckman, would be one of the highlights, but they elected to start with Darcy in the centre square and Scott Wine, the skipper, on the bench.
He kicks from 51 metres and trying to get that extra distance, drifted it off to the left. So low scoring at the moment, Carlton by a point.
Well, they played a quarter here last year that went about 10 seconds short of 40 minutes. The Blues kicked 11 goals for the term, the longest quarter ever played in the AFL, stroke VFL. Here they might play a quarter that goes about 21 minutes with no goals, the way it's heading. Free kick to Camporelli, and he smiles as he comes back to take it. Every Carlton player being put to the test here, and there are matchups all around the place. This is Craig Bradley's worst nightmare, getting Romero. Murphy long to the goal square. No mark. Chance for Bradley. He's all class. Hume's in there. Can't get hold of it. What a scrap. And rush through for a minor score.
Three behinds, Carlton. One behind the Western Bulldogs is Leon Cameron. There's the designated kicker. So Cameron drives it short. Up the middle, Rowan Smith. He's very, very quick. He kicks it 60 metres to the half-forward line. Some pushing and shoving going on. Sexton did well with the punch. Here's Montgomery. Back it comes to Cox. Cox swings onto the left. He's bending it up, looking in the direction of Winmar. He jumped very, very early, and he's given away the free kick. It will go to his direct opponent, former Saint himself, and that is Dean Rice. Oh, a bit stiff. He had his eyes on the ball completely. I don't think that should have been a free kick against him. Here's Ange Christo to centre wing. Marnie underneath it. Beaumont chipped in. Curley went to ground. Knocked out by Beaumont. Still in play with Cox. Cox a quick little hand pass, but straight to Camporelli. Camporelli from half back. He kicks it low, and he finds Matthew Allen, who played pretty well last week against the Magpies.
And Allen getting the ball around the ground, a thing we saw Matthew Clark up in Brisbane last night not doing. Didn't take one mark. Allen's taken a couple already. Hamill, low to Bradley, beautiful mark. Pure class, Craig Bradley.
Well, he's been a great player, Craig Bradley, the oldest player in AFL football. Just keeps on getting the ball. It'll be a test today because Ramiro is a very close tagging player, but Bradley is a running machine.
35 years of age and approaching 300 games. He should pass the milestone this season. Fitness fanatic, former Sheffield Shield cricketer. Gave cricket up to concentrate on football, much to the Blues' pleasure. 40 metres out. Oh, what a kick. First goal of the game. It took 14 minutes, but worth the wait.
That's also his first goal of the season. And Carlton started very well. The Bulldogs would have gone into this game favourites. Carlton have always been very difficult to beat here at Optus Oval, and even last year when the Bulldogs came out here and they were raging hot favourites, they were absolutely blitzed by Carlton. 29 goals to 15. And they've answered all of the Bulldogs' challenges so far. With all the matchups, it's been a very good opening quarter so far.
There's Allen getting first touch to it. Beaumont, well, he had no chance again. Good umpiring. Come in and bounce that. 8 points the margin. And we've just got just over 9 minutes left in this first term. And very close checking game, this one. Again, it's Darcy. Wines on the bench. Darcy versus Allen. And well, they both actually missed that one. It's socket off the ground. Fraser Brown puts his body in front. Oh, it's shuffled out to Croft. On the Winmar. Winmar racing forward, has a bounce. Runs inside 50. Pings away at goal. A brilliant goal to the Bulldogs, kicked by Winmar.
Oh, that is a hell of a goal.
Well, that's what he's capable of, Nicky Winmar. He's always been a brilliant player. He's kicked 5 goals for the season. They've mainly used him on the forward line. When he first went to the Western Bulldogs, the general feeling was that maybe he'd play off a wing or maybe off half-back, but Terry Wallace has used him up forward as well as a bit of a pinch hitter, and he's now kicked his 5th goal for the season. That's a terrific kick on the run. Not easy to steady and pop it through, but when you've got the silky skills of Nicky Winmar, anything is possible.
And did Libba get away with a little bit of a chuck back in midfield? If he got a hand to it, it was so quick, I didn't see it. Whistle. And free kick here coming to the Blues. Ratton's not sure he wants to go on and argue, but it's his ball. This is going to warm up this game. Have no fear about that.
Yeah, he's got plenty of attention so far, Brett Ratton.
So just behind the centre circle, he delivers to the 50. Hamill. The punch by Croft. That's what they missed last week. McKay back to Hamill. Bradley nudged underneath it, no whistle. Chance for Beaumont. Gets there second. They're claiming it's touched. The Bulldogs defence all think it's touched. But it's been given a goal.
And he's a vastly improved player too. Last year, towards the end of the year, when Carlton finished in a blaze of glory, Beaumont was one of their very good players. I think Hamill should have kicked the goal himself a few seconds earlier. The pass I think it was to Bradley, was a poor one, popped it up in the air, and they were probably a bit lucky in the end to get a goal, whereas Hamill was directly in front, running towards goal. And sometimes you can be unselfish to the detriment of the side, but on this occasion it came off for the Blues.
Well, there's a hurry kick out of the centre. It's by Garlick down towards half-forward. Advantage paid as Craig Ellis races into goal and bounces it through for a goal. So goals now, Kevin Bartlett, starting to flow.
Well, that's great play. And Ellis just coming off the square, running through, and then finishing off with a long penetrating kick. And that's the way the Bulldogs play. They're a long kicking side. They break very quickly out of defence from the centre square. They generally don't muck around with short passes. They kick the ball long. And on that occasion, he was quite happy for the ball to just have space on his side and to bounce through for a goal.
Oh, we took 14 minutes to get our first goal, and now we've had 4 goals, 2 each, in the next 4 minutes. Advantage free kick. Brad Johnson, open goal, gets another one. Doesn't it open up all of a sudden?
3 goals in a matter of minutes, the Bulldogs. We said before, they're a quick scoring side. Because of the style that they play, there's that free kick that was given away to Ellis, and Johnston just pounced on it, and of course with the advantage rule, and that's a terrific kick. Too many players, when they run into an open goal, trying to kick it too hard and too high rather than just controlling it onto the boot, and he did it beautifully.
So the centre bounce area, very, very important. Again, they all miss it. It goes to Ratton, gets a quick little kick in. That's Hamill getting it to Allen. To Manton. Now, can Carlton go down and get one? Manton sensibly moves it quickly, keeps it low, but Marnie read that beautifully. Beaumont was caught behind, and in hindsight, he might have been better off going to the top of the square. Marnie wide, and the mark was taken inside by Luke Darcy. Darcy has got West. Puts it out in front of him. Oh, he's run back into trouble. Finds Ramiro, though. Jose Ramiro. Kicks it across to Croft. Here's Cameron racing up the middle of the ground. He drives to an open square and has missed. And you can hear the Bulldogs crowd roar in anticipation, but unfortunately for this clever utility player, he just missed.
Well, they're playing all their players well up the ground, breaking away from defence, and each time they're kicking for goal, there's no one within 25 metres of goal. So they've got an open goal face to kick into, the Bulldogs.
Fraser Brown today playing game 150. It's about, the ball is smothered, comes to Grant, who ducks the tackle. Too far out to score. Centering kick, nobody there for the Bulldogs. And Christou marks. Christou switches the direction of the play to Manton. And Glenn Manton, game 100. He started at Essendon and was flicked by Essendon. Went to Carlton and played in the Premiership in his first year with the Blues. Hamill, good juggle. Aaron Hamill back on centre wing. Dogs lead by 5 points. Short of the 50. Lance Whitmore hasn't been in the play much. Kicked 8 goals last time. Hand pass back to the youngster Backwell. Backwell to the goal square. Goal! Started on interchange, just on the ground, and straight away has an impact.
Well, just a youngster drafted from Queensland. I like the way he kicked the goal then too. As we mentioned before, running into the open goal, he'll just keep this ball very, very low. And therefore, he's able to kick right through the ball and drill it. And he looks a pretty promising player. He's quick, not much of him at the moment, but obviously he'll build up as the years go on, but he's lively.
So back we go to the middle. Carlton by a point. Allen and Darcy. Darcy actually got that one down to Garlick. He was caught. This will be a bounce. And again, the players will congregate in the middle to try and force it out. In modern day football, getting that centre break is just so important. Again, it's Darcy and Allen. Fraser Brown and Scott West pushing and shoving there. Oh, well done. A quick little hand pass from West. Grabbed by Liberatore. Down towards half forward. Grant flew in front. Kutafiti's just got a punch to it. Brown went in very, very hard. Darcy tried to crash his way through. Murphy, he did that very, very well to McKay. And Andrew McKay kicks it long. Beaumont, oh, good mark and a good lead. He can ping to an open goal. He can bounce it through. He hooks it though, and it drops short, and the mark has been taken by Todd Curley.
Curley towards the outer side. Croft giving chase. Ball sits up beautifully for him. 5 minutes remaining to quarter time. Open slather here for Rowan Smith.
Darcy's
He can
gone
kick it a
himself.
mile. Darcy on the goal square, right in front.
Now what the Bulldogs are doing, Drew, they're playing most of their players in 3/4 of the ground, just 3/4 of the ground. And as a result, they've got a lot of players back around the centre square and cross half-back. And then they're very quick to break and kick the ball long into an open forward line with no one's inside the forward line. That time, Darcy actually just snuck back and caught everyone out. He was standing back there by himself for about 15-20 seconds before the ball was even picked up, and he was seen that time. So it's a very interesting tactic the Bulldogs have got at the moment.
So is that Terry Wallace's version of Pagan's paddock? Keep
Well,
an open forward line and dash onto the ball at 100 miles an hour.
Well, if you want to call it that, Pagan's paddock, that's exactly the tactics he's using at the moment.
And there's Chris Grant coming off with the blood rule, but they also did that against Geelong, Kevin, and there was only one problem.
Geelong kicked more
It
goals.
was going down the other end. Geelong were doing virtually, they were keeping their centre half forward area open, having all their big players, Geelong, back in the square, and they were running out of the centre and kicking goals.
Well, you can have a look at the field now, Pete. Even the Carlton players are well up on 50. Only Beaumont is standing on 50. So the game is really being played between inside the centre square. That's where all the players are.
Yeah, and the day of the conventional full forward there, 1 out, is just about gone. We don't see it too often, but with Matthew Lloyd coming good, we might.
Luke Darcy has a sitter. (4-2 to 3-3). And after a slow start on the scoreboard, they're rocketing along now.
Well, Luke Darcy has been given the mantle today by Terry Wallace. He started in the ruck with the captain Scott Wine on the bench. Obviously, he'll come on as we get into the game with his vast experience. And we saw Croft there, who's back from injury, to Rowan Smith, who loves the run. But this is where Darcy, he'd been standing there for a good 20 seconds, waiting for that ball to come back. And Chris Grant, of course, off with the blood rule. He'll come straight back on.
So after a goal drought very early in the quarter, the game really starting to flow now. There's a Garlick caught by Fraser Brown. Umpire calling play on. Ratton to half forward. Manton, yes, mark. Glenn Manton will kick from, well, he will still have to kick the ball around about 50 metres here.
Peter, Chris Grant's just got a scratch on his knee, but Adam White come off and Ron Diulio went on.
Thank you, Couchy. And Glenn Manton, after a juggling mark, will kick from just inside 50, as a matter of fact. And the players at that end of the ground are drifting the ball a lot of the time to the right. So the way they're kicking, they seem to be kicking a little bit further up to the end which the Western Bulldogs are kicking to.
Yeah, Peter, there's no wind to speak of, though, on the ground. It's just a very still day.
Leon Cameron, we saw him have a shot for goal a while ago, but he's been kicking the ball in for the Dogs at the other end of the ground. Here he goes, gets it just short of the 50. Croft has made some difference, bit more height on the back line. He's taken a few marks back there. Dogs lead by 4 points, 4 minutes to quarter time. Kick by Croft, short of centre wing. Darcy front position, comes to him, roved his own footy. Not a great kick. McKay gets a touch to it. Spills to Diulio just off the bench. Inside the 50, punch to the front. This kid can go. Backwell, well done, the Queenslander. Across the 50 to Beaumont, who overruns. Gets it from Whitnell. Christou up from defence. To the top of the square. Hamill sandwiched, and a good mark taken by Leon Cameron.
Yes, he had good support too from Croft. It was 2-on-1 situation. This is West at half back. So Scott West. Now he kicks short, finds the speedster in Brad Johnson. He loves to run off. This time he's forced to kick it from a standing position down to half forward. No mark. Grant crashes his way through. Kudafiti's actually doing a fair job on him at the moment. Brown, he crashed in also. That was Brown of Footscray. Off the ground by Sexton. That's the way to do it when in doubt. Here's a one-on-one contest. Hamill and Croft. Still Hamill. Good play, Hamill. And Hamill might end. Oh, Backwell, he's very, very impressive, this little fella. In towards the pocket. Good mark. Josh Marnie. And he seems to have found his home here. A former Collingwood player. And he kicks it out wide. And it's Brett Montgomery.
Through half back he goes. Smith supplies the shepherd. Montgomery's kick is perfect to half forward. Cox marks. Centres the ball, almost kicked it backwards. Smith with a bit of distance. Grant, they want the mark. Got it. No. Play on. Johnson off the ground. Missed it.
Well, I thought maybe he should have got a free kick there.
So do I.
Chris Grant was going back for the mark, but I thought that time just a bit too much of a push. It wasn't as if he was steadying himself here. To me, this was a bit of a shove out, and you can see there that that's a push in the back.
That's right in the middle of the back, and it should have been paid. Bradley. Ratton. So Brett Ratton, good vision. He finds Murphy, who's normally a great kick. This time he kicks on the left. And a desperate lunge there by Leon Cameron forces it over the line. Western Bulldogs by 5 points. Half forward for Carlton. There's Ron Diulio. Allen and Darcy. Allen won it. Gee, that was a good hit out to Beaumont. Beaumont, oh, he gave it straight to Cameron. Cameron kicks it out in the full. So it'll be a Carlton kick here on centre wing.
He didn't expect to get it. He got such a surprise, he kicked it out on the full.
And this is Anthony Franchina.
His kick towards the 50. Montgomery. Whistle's gone. Carlton free. Advantage goes to Fraser Brown. He's on the 50 and cornered. Goes for distance with a spiral. Whitnell is there. The kick is offline and out of bounds.
He should have given it to Dean Rice on his own.
Yes, he had plenty of space. Maybe Brown should have spent more time to find him. Throw in forward pocket, chance for the Blues. Here goes Backwell. And a good mark taken by Curley getting back.
This is Todd Curley, deep in defence. Very good contest we're witnessing at the moment. Very even matchups all over the ground. So Curley should kick it over the 50-metre line. Allen and Darcy. Allen read it well, but he slipped through his fingers. Darcy was looking for Johnson, and eventually Darcy forces it over the line. So it's way out at half forward for Carlton. Close to quarter time. Good hard slogging contest going on here. Tapped down by Allen. Oh, that's a free kick. It's a Carlton free kick. And is that Ratton again? Goodness, he's been copping some attention now. He kicks it across to Dean Rice. Rice can go long and wide. Whitnell used his body. He can have a snap. He centres it to the top of the square. He was looking for Backwell, but Marnie doing very, very well down there.
Dogs by 5 points. Closing stages of the opening quarter. Marnie not too sure. Pretty well covered. All but 2 players in one half of the ground. Southern, defensive goal square. And he's kicked that out of bounds on the full, but the siren had gone. Will the Blues get this kick?
Yeah, they'll get a kick here. They will definitely get a kick.
Yep.
The ball was over the line before the siren went.
So Ratton will have a shot for goal after the siren to see if he can make it from 50 metres out on the boundary line. This will be some goal if he kicks this one. He can't play on. He's got to run straight over the mark. He can't give it off. So it's goal or nothing. Sydney or the bush. He's gone for the spiral. He got a bit of a wobble on it and it dropped short. No score. So at quarter time, the Bulldogs lead by 5 points. (4-3) 27 to Carlton, 3 goals for 22.
And a very good opening quarter. Just the matchups were quite fascinating because we said before the game, Drew and Pete, that midfield strength of both these sides, very, very important. And I know that Terry Wallace would have been concerned with the likes of Murphy, Ratton and Bradley and Camporelli. They're the 4 guns from across midfield. So they assigned Ramiro to Bradley, Liberatore to Camporelli, also Johnston to Murphy, and Garlic was picking up Brett Ratton. But both those sides, both those players, groups of players, got a lot of the ball. And we see there Greg Williams on screen, who obviously will probably speak to the midfield players. But the Bulldogs opened up their forward line halfway through that second quarter. And then all of a sudden, you know, the floodgates started to open up, and also an open Carlton forward line. So it was goal for goal, which ended what was a tough first quarter with just 5 points the difference. So 4-3, 27 the Bulldogs. The Blues 3-4, 22 at quarter time.
Started the second quarter. Carlton skipper Craig Bradley starting the second term on the bench. Bulldogs lead by 5 points. Wine is still on the bench for the Dogs. Hasn't had a run yet, the Brownlow medalist. Ratton out of the middle. Long towards full forward. Sandwich, Whitnell couldn't take the mark. Southern missed with the hand pass, had a second attempt. Lucky not to be pinged for a bit of a throw there. Flipped the ball up and then punched it. And it's gone through for a minor score.
Drew Braddles has got a very, very sore neck, so they're just massaging it now, trying to get him right and get back on the ground.
Do you think the breeze to the Robert Heatley stand's worth a goal too, Paul?
There's not a lot of breeze, KB, out there. Once you get in the middle there's nothing there. I just checked it at quarter time break there. There's no breeze to speak of, really.
So Leon Cameron, and no wonder Bradley's got a sore neck. He's been crunched into the ground a couple of times. Here's Danny Southern. He wants to play on. He finds Cox. Simon Cox around the boundary line. Koutafidis and Grant. Grant used his body well then. Darcy to Grant. He's gone. Good tackling by Carlton. Koutafidis done a fair job on Grant. He's done a very good job, in fact. In towards half forward, the Flyers are there. Marnie went without it. Fraser Brown took a dive. That might have been the back to Marnie then. And the umpire saying no. And it'll be a bounce.
Tell you, Peter, one thing, you wouldn't want to get near the ball because everybody's killing each other out there. There's a bit of anger there between them, the Doggies and the Blues. They don't like each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of feeling out there, Paul, and, well, it's an enjoyable game to watch when it's like this. Marnie, he goes to ground, so it'll be another bounce.
Especially when we're sitting in the grandstands.
Yeah, you can feel quite comfortable here. Yeah, Chris Grant has been kept pretty quiet by Cooter. He's had 3 possessions, but importantly, no scores. Dogs by 4 points, early second quarter. Croft. Murphy comes back to Allen. He comes out wide to half-forward flank. Beaumont too far out to score. Comes in short, and the mark completed. Just got there in time, Matt.
Kevin, Glenn Manton's been a pretty good player for Carlton since crossing from the Bombers.
Oh, it's been a great pickup. Played in a premiership in his first year. Playing his 100th game today, 79 with Carlton, 21 with the Bombers. He's only kicked 32 goals in his career, but has mainly played in defence. But this is a good kick off the boot, but it may have just pushed it right.
Close. Just missed it. Yeah, he was devastated when he was flicked by the Bombers because he lived over the road from the Windy Hill ground and was an Essendon man through and through.
Well, there's Scotty Wine still on the bench. They're going with Darcy to do the ruck work early in this game. Now Leon Cameron said to himself, and now he's created the loose man here. Danny Southern, Josh Marnie. Now Marnie dodging and weaving. Back it comes to Cameron, who's a very relaxed and balanced footballer. In towards half forward, no mark. Kutafiti's put pressure on. Brown, we haven't seen much of him yet. Darcy looking for Alice. Kutafiti's in there and Sexton. Well, the umpire might ping him here. And good umpiring, because you've got to give the player making the play some sort of leeway, in my opinion.
Peter, I spoke to Brian Rawle about Scott Wine. He just said he's going to wait until the game slows down a bit before he comes on.
He played a lot in defence last week before getting a run on the ball, but a pretty quiet game all over. Comes to Cox, 50 metres out, offline to Winmar. Very awkward kick to the forward line, and Cox knows it. He gave Winmar little hope of getting that. Nicky shakes his head. Probably used to Robert Harvey drilling it onto his chest, laces out. Allen palming down, Winmar in the thick of things. It's a real scrap. The only thing lacking is the canvas and the ropes.
It is a bit like that. It's a tough, hard game, and easy kicks aren't there at the moment with all these matchups.
Well, young Nathan Brown booted 7 goals last week against the Cats, but Franchina's just held him to 1 kick.
Well, there's Libber having a pot shot on the right, and the Bulldog supporters roared with delight, but he's missed. And Christo, the pressure will be on him now. Now they've got a loose, or they've got a couple of loose men, or he's got to check and go back. He's going to kick it long because you can see Andrew McKay on his own out here at halfback. He played really well against the Magpies last week. He finds Manton. They've got the loose man going. Allen further afield. What can Beaumont do? He's looking across to centre it. Then he elects to ping it long. Croft read it beautifully. A good mark in defence to Matthew Croft.
He's taken a couple of marks and had 7 possessions back there. They missed a bit of that last week. Big fly by Murphy. Didn't get a touch to the ball. Comes to the back to Johnson. Floats it over to Garlick. Garlick run down but slips the tackle at Camporelli. Back to Johnson. Steers it low. Good pass. Just couldn't complete it, Ellis. Grant concedes some ground. Garlick across the 50. Jumped off by McKay. Great defending. Nathan Brown. Just his second kick. Deep inside the 50. Carlton have the numbers back in defence. Rice to Allen. Matty Allen clears. He's racked up some possessions, Allen. It's up to 5. Christo.
And he got a lot of possessions around the ground against the Magpies last week, Allen. Very mobile. I think he's worked pretty hard on his fitness. There's Beaumont driving it around to Hamill. Aaron Hamill is marked on centre wing. Been falling down a little bit up forward. He's looking for Whitnell this time. Good attempt, but Danny Southern's hot in his hammer. Long hand pass. Comes back to Cameron. Rowan Smith. They love to run the ball, the Western Bulldogs. Here's Jose. A kick in towards half forward. Dean Rice did very, very well towards the centre of the ground. That punch. Garlick couldn't get away with it. Look at the pressure on. West dives in. Fraser Brown appealing for a free kick. Here's Andrew McKay. He gets in a hand pass. In goes Rice, and there's no loose ball in there, and the umpire is forced to come in and bounce it. You're right, True. This is a scrap.
It was a great passage of play of two sides being so desperate. Some great tackling, some chasing, just putting pressure on the player with the ball. And the scores indicate just what a good game this is and how close it is. 28-24 with the Bulldogs just in front by 4 points.
Scott West has only had a few touches, 4 possessions against Ratton's 8. Montgomery out in front of Croft, floated over the top and said to Curley, run onto that, son. Curley bowled over. Garlick back to Curley. This is better for the Dogs now. Croft at centre wing. Long to the 50. Out in front of Ellis. With him is Sexton. Sexton's punch going back to him. Dogs have it. Johnson to Grant. Cruises inside 50. Doesn't go for the score. He sets it up. Brown!
Well, that'll excite the Bulldogs faithful. Because Nathan Brown with his 7 goals last week, leading the AFL goal kicking coming into round 3. So far, Franchina's been able to keep him very, very quiet. The Bulldogs fans would be just waiting for him to explode.
Nathan Brown, 7 goals last week, and he hits the post from 25 metres.
Well, he didn't go through with his kick then, Peter. He just was a very lazy kick then by Nathan Brown. Didn't punch through the ball. And when you do that, it's very hard to keep it on line.
Yes, I agree with that. Down that end of the ground, just about every kick has been left to right today for some reason. I don't know why, as we see a long kick from Anscrew. Oh, that's in the back. Well, it's given off by Beaumont on to Hamill. Allen was put right out of that contest a moment ago. That's a good kick and a good mark. On the run with arms outstretched to Whitnell.
Strong eyes and strong hands. It was a great kick. He didn't have to break stride, but Whitnell had to be good enough to take the ball out in front.
So Lance Whitnell, exciting young player playing centre half forward. Kicks it goal. He's drifted it to the right. And he has missed. So just looking up above the Carlton grandstand, they're looking at the flags. They are starting to flutter a bit now.
KB, I'd like to get you to expand on the strong eyes.
Strong eyes means you just keep the eyes on the ball all the time. You never let them waver off the ball. And if you can't concentrate on the ball, therefore you can't mark it. Because a lot of players drop the mark when for some reason they just either drop the eyes or they sort of half look away, therefore they can't see the ball into the hands.
Kick it straight to centre wing and a diving mark by Manton.
That's why KB played those over 400 league games too.
Murphy's hand pass sits up for Camporelli. Bit of ballet dancing by Scott Camporelli. Then round the corner. Ronnie Diulio inside the 50. Across the base. The whistle's gone. It's either going to be a relayed free or the ball's coming back. It's a Carlton free kick by Kennedy. Is it coming back to Ronnie Diulio? He'll have a set shot from back on the 50.
I reckon this kick, Kev, would be left-hand goal post.
Well, I said before, I thought maybe it was worth a goal, maybe 2 going down to the Robert Heatley stand, because the flags are fluttering once the ball gets up in the air, and it looks to me that it's left to right.
Can Diulio convert? It's the top of his range. He gets the distance but had to hook it left.
You see a lot of players do that. They run out to the right to try and get that extra distance. They run out and try and hook it hard.
Bit more leverage.
And then they miss it to the left. And vice versa, left footers miss it to the right. Couch, you'd know about that down the boundary line. Cameron, half back, and he finds Brett Montgomery, who's jumping jack. Marnie's getting plenty of the ball. Back to Montgomery. He's going to transfer play here. Oh, he's kicked it to a contest. Hamill put himself in front, but he's got 2 to beat. Curley. Now Johnson. Hamill, well, he chased hard. The kick from Johnson down to centre wing. Ange Christo has got it. A loping hand pass is a very, very good one. On to Diulio. And he was just grabbed as he kicked it and put him off. And Curley has taken the mark.
He's having a good game, Todd Curley. 5 marks coming up for his 10th disposal. And we're less than halfway through the second quarter. into Montgomery. Tight as you'd like it. 3 points the margin. Ellis, bad bounce. Fraser Brown, Franchina. Hamill works it to the front, but the Dogs are there in numbers. Curley again. Great kick. Brad Johnson. Half back to half forward looking for Grant. Open forward line. Nobody closer than 60 metres to go.
It was very good effort then by Koutafidis, because Grant was going to push him under the ball and then take the ball, of course, and run into what is an open forward line. But Koutafidis held his ground well, and therefore Grant wasn't quite able to push off him.
Well, they're doing the ruck work against each other then. Brown dives on top of it. West did well. To Rowan Smith just outside 50. Oh, that had to be a good mark to Sexton. That's slipped off his fingertips. It was a goal.
Play in front, Pete.
Yep, it was terrific.
That's what Sexton did. He was in front of his opponent.
Now Murphy is a long kick. That is a terrific kick. It's thumped away by Marnie, though he's doing well in defence. Koutafidis taps it over the line. He is on top of Grant. You'd have to say that.
Sometimes you can come unstuck being in front. Remember
It's
Mick Parson and Gary Evans?
Well,
yes.
that can happen.
And it'd kill you, wouldn't it?
But look, 99 times out of 100, play in front.
Smith gets a tough ball out of there to Manton. Blues running out of defence. Ratton has been excellent. Oh, what a pick-up by Whitnell. This will be a goal if he kicks this. Have a look at this. Oh, what a pity. That wanted a full pointer.
It deserved a goal, Kevin, didn't it?
A couple of wasted opportunities, though, by Lance Whitnell, because he is a goal kicker. And when you're hot, you nail those goals. At the moment, his kicking's just a bit off, but they were both kickable goals.
At 3-9, this could prove expensive, Carlton.
Well, they're playing pretty well, though, as we see Hamill towards half forward, Whitnell versus Croft, and it's forced out. I'd love to see, I know you can't do it now because of the way Koutafidis is going, I'd actually love to see Koutafidis given a spell, given a go at full forward with his speed and agility. I just think they need another goal kicker up there, Carlton, but they can't take him off Grant. That's the problem. Ooh, Hume copped it. Here's Croft. He's playing very, very well. He was looking for Cox. Allen has been terrific, so mobile for a big man. He brings it up in front of goal. They need a mark. Some pushing and shoving. That's a goal. It's bounced through. Oh, Blues in front.
Yes, the Bulldog defenders just couldn't get their hands on the ball. And Allen did very well at ground level, which is foreign territory to most tall players, but he was able to bend down and win the ball here. Getting around Cox. And then from right on 50, and we see a couple of Bulldogs defenders here. And unfortunately, Marnie and also Denny Southern just couldn't get a fingertip onto it.
Great goal by Matthew Allen. And Carlton in front. Margin 4 points. Allen beaten in the middle by Darcy. But grabbed by McKay. Tries to spin out of trouble. Fraser Brown runs on.
Could have nearly got a free kick then, Fraser Brown. Manhandled before he was ridden into the ground. It was a bit high over the shoulder from Scotty West.
KB, Nicky Winmar's off and Simon Garlick's gone onto the half-forward flank.
Star-studded bench for the Bulldogs. They've got an All-Australian, Paul Hudson, who hasn't had a run. Scott Wynd, a Brownlow medalist, who hasn't had a run. Nicky Winmar has played 230-something games.
Craig Bradley was getting a bit of massage up the race and he's just about to come on.
Saw neck Craig Bradley and was benched at quarter time. Hasn't seen any action in this second term. You've seen that a bit today.
And if you had have known that Bradley would be off the ground for an extended period, you wouldn't give him Carlton a lot of chance, would you? There's a free kick going here to the Bulldogs group.
And Paul Dimartino, I think, will probably come into the action for the Bulldogs with just under 7.5 minutes of action left.
Oh,
there's Darcy.
Is that the Liverpool kiss?
Well, that's interesting. If it's worth a free kick, I wonder if it's a note in the book.
Brad Johnson it was.
Brad Johnson has got the ball at half-back. He drives it low, and he read that beautifully, Ron DiIulio, the only one who really read that off the boot. Now he's kicking in short. He finds Murphy. who gives it off to Ange Christou, who belts it up to the half-forward line, finds White. Number 30 for Carlton, Adam White, will kick for goal from 45 metres, acute angle, and a goal would be invaluable here. It's not a bad-looking kick, and you can tell by the crowd he just hooked it slightly to the left. There was just that low murmur.
Rowan Smith's come off, boys, and Paul DiMartino on for his first run.
Smith, Hudson, Winmar, Wine. What a bench. Southern. Taken over the line by Beaumont.
Kevin, is it fair to say the Bulldogs really aren't playing all that well, are they?
Well, I don't want to take too much away from Carlton.
True.
Because they've had a lot of players who have been very, very desperate, and they've matched the ferocity of the Western Bulldogs in the game so far. And that's always been a key to the Bulldogs. They've been a very ferocious combination.
And they're 14 scoring shots to 9, but leading by just 5 points. The 4 goals 10 might finish up being expensive later on.
Yeah. Well, I think I saw a game yesterday, Drew, where I think Melbourne kicked themselves out of it in the first term when they really were well on top of Geelong. So it can be very costly missing easy goals.
Allen's been fantastic on the ball for the Blues. Liberatore to West. He hasn't had any breathing room, Scott West. Kuhn, awkward at the feet of Murphy. And as a result, he can't get it out. That'll be a baller. And guess who's on the ground, fighting for the ball down there at ground level? Jose Romero.
And I think the hoots there were for Libba.
And Libba's coming off and going onto the bench.
He's been fantastic play for the Western Bulldogs, Libba.
So they've got 2 Brownlow medalists on the bench currently.
Yep. I repeat, for a bloke, as the ball goes over the boundary line, for a bloke of Libba's size to do what he's done in AFL football, it's been fantastic. There he is. Fantastic little contributor. There's Rowan Smith. Oh, he's speaking to Terry Wallace. He's obviously going to come back on shortly. The ball at half forward for the Blues as it's raced down towards the pocket. And Denny Southern caught. Ball spills free, and look at them charge in there near the boundary line. And the umpire will come in and bounce. It's right in front of the Carlton Social Club. And I don't know with ticketing arrangements how many Bulldog supporters will be up in those stands actually these days. As we see Brett Ratton hooking it back in front of goal. It flicks off fingers. It's still in the field of play. Cox caught high, and it'll be a free kick to Simon Cox deep in defence.
Well, I was led to believe at half-time they were queuing to get seats here and were told that the public seating area was full and people were turned away, and yet the Legend stand is half empty, and this is a problem here because the extra impost, people won't pay it. And I believe people might have gone home and be probably listening to the game on the radio rather than pay the extra to watch it.
Well, I wouldn't say it's half empty, Drew. I think it's probably 3/4 full, the Legend stand. I think saying it's half empty is probably just overstating it a little bit.
Possibly. Half empty or half full, whatever.
I think it's 3/4 full.
All right. Good mark by Darcy. Bulldogs haven't kicked a goal in this quarter. They've managed just 2 behinds. And Carlton, they themselves have only kicked 1. They've kicked 1-6. Okay. Long. Too long for Manton. He's outnumbered 2-1 and running out of room. He had to cough it up. Oh, good place, Camporelli. And rushed through for a behind, or is it a free kick before that, or a ball up before that?
No, you can't beat ability, can you? Andrew McKay has read that ball 5 or 6 times brilliantly in defence.
So that ball was put over the behind line, and Wine's on for his first run, but the umpire had blown up for a ball up just before that. White runs into goal, but the whistle's gone again, and it's now Bulldogs free out of the back pocket.
And Luke Darcy, who seems to be getting far more work on the ball these days than Scott Wine, obviously grooming him for that number 1 ruck position. Last goal for the Western Bulldogs, first quarter at the 24.5-minute mark. Now, here's Brett Montgomery from half back. It's been going between half forward and the 2.5 back lines. Ellis is marked. Back to Montgomery. Let's see what they can do this time. He hugs the boundary line. Croft onto the left. He brings it into half forward, but again that half back line repels this mark taken by Beaumont. So it's just going up and down the ground between the half back lines at the moment. Simon Beaumont's going short. Oh, it's a good kick. He just held on to it in the second bite. Camporelli. And both defences, well, the sides are getting back and crowding the opposition forward lines. It's difficult for players to find space.
Well, that was Beaumont who's been playing at full forward, marking on the half back line, and it was kicked to him by his opponent Matthew Croft, who was up on the half forward line. Just gives you an indication of the amount of running that's going on in the game.
That's Camporelli to the half forward line, a loose ball. Burke tried to do the shepherding for Ratton, and it'll be a bounce.
What a contrast to last year. There's been one goal in this quarter. Last year, Carlton kicked 11 in one of the quarters. 29 for the game. Scott Wine, fresh as a daisy, sat it out for the opening quarter and 2/3. Hurried by Christou. A high ball out in front of the goal square. Rice! Mark Payne.
This is a big kick coming up, isn't it, really, to go 2 goals clear.
Top mark by Dean Rice.
Did you pay that one, Kevin?
The mark?
Yep.
That's a mark, all right.
There's trouble here for Scott West. This is bad news for the Bulldogs. It's won their best and fairest 3 out of the last 4 years. Rice goes for goal and sprays it right. Another behind.
I think that's the one skill over the years. Just about everything else has improved. But I reckon that's the one skill that has not improved, kicking for goal.
Well, unfortunately, when you're on top, if you keep kicking behinds, we saw it in the grand final last year when North Melbourne dominated the first half and just kept racking up the behinds, that sooner or later, the opposition, which is quality opposition, will have 20 minutes of the ball, and if they kick straight, all of a sudden they blow you away.
So Leon Cameron to centre wing. Wind will probably get a free kick. Oh, unlucky. Franchina onto Murphy. McKay has been terrific again. Murphy back to Andrew McKay. This is good play as he brings it in towards Whitnell. Oh, the big fist away. Hamill was the flyer in the middle of the pack. And it's again in front of the Carlton Social Club. There's Aaron Hamill.
He's been a pretty lively player on the half forward line. Hamill has done some good work in this first half.
Can the Blues get something out of this? Throw in near the forward pocket. Wine tries to get it out. Well done by Backwell. He kept it in.
Oh.
Boy.
Free kick, Drew. Pushing the back on the boundary line.
So it'll come back to Backwell. A youngster playing in his 3rd game. And the crowd just realised the free's been given. Aren't the Bulldogs fans going crook? But this youngster from West Brisbane, he came down here on holidays last year and watched the Blues train and was just absolutely awestruck by the Craig Bradleys and Silvanis, and now he's signing autographs with them.
Oh!
Kicks a magnificent goal!
Well, I saw him kick a great goal last week, a snapshot over his left shoulder against Collingwood. It showed he had a lot of class. He's already kicked 2 goals, one in the first quarter, and that was an absolute ripper. He's very, very quick and lively. Looks like he doesn't fumble, which is going to be very important as far as the small player is concerned. And as he kicked that ball, we could see coming across and getting him in the back was Josh Marnie. And he finished that off with a great kick.
Well, remember the shot of Lockett kicking one like that from the pocket in Sydney last year? We were right behind him and he threaded the needle. That was every bit as good.
Got 2 goals to young Backwell. Getting close to half-time. Murphy hooks it out. He was looking for White. White's got it. Caught in a tackle. And the umpire will come in and bounce with half a minute to go until half-time. And a good lead here to Carlton. 12 points the margin. And in the context of the way this game has been played, that's a very good lead. Wind. Dimatina a quick kick. A loose ball here. Dimatina again with a hurry kick to centre wing. No mark to Hudson. Look at the tackling of Carlton. Hans Christou races in some good shepherding here and allows Franchina to take on Nathan Round, and eventually it's forced to the line.
Peter, just checking on Scott West, just checking his jaw, see if there's any breaks there. He looks okay from here, so he'll probably come on after half-time.
Let's hope he's back, because they can ill afford to lose somebody of the calibre of Scott West, even though he's had a pretty quiet day today in midfield. Rice, there's the siren for half-time. And David Parkin, who put such a high store on the 1%ers and the sacrificial acts, would be delighted with the way the Blues played the first half.
Well, they've had the better players, there's no doubt about that. Unfortunately for Carlton, on the scoreboard, they haven't really got the fruits of their labour, 41-29. But Ratton and Murphy have been very good. Brown also has picked up possessions. Camporelli. Manton's also been a pretty handy player in his 100th game. Koutafidis has done a very good job on Chris Grant. Grant really hasn't had any influence on the game at all so far. And Ange Christou across half-back and Mackay have also been very, very good. For the Bulldogs, there's Chris Grant on screen. I'm certainly like the lift in the second half. I think Curley's been very good. Montgomery and Marnie have battled hard, so has Croft and Johnston. But at half-time, it's Carlton 5-11-41, leading the Western Bulldogs 4-5-29.
Bulldogs fans, you can enter the Who's Your Favourite.
Start of the second half here. After a goalless second quarter for the Dogs, they need to hit back in this third term, trailing by 12 points. Fraser Brown roves in the middle, picked up by Garlick. Out in front of Murphy, the hand pass. Wide he comes. Hume goes back. Ratton pops one over the top, inside the 50, and Beaumont marks.
Well, talking about being inside 50, Drew, 31-18 in the first half in favour of Carlton.
Hamill from the back.
That was a great kick. A very, very good kick, Kevin. He really did pick him out.
And that was a dominating second quarter also by the Blues, 15 times inside 50 to 6. So that just about tells the story of the dominance. But Hamill had a very good first half. I thought last year he started to really emerge as a very good player for Carlton, a player that had some influence on the game. And today he's certainly been a live wire across the half-forward line. Big and strong, and usually can kick a goal.
Right in front, 30 out. They lead by 3 goals, the Blues.
Well, they finished the season off so well last year, Carlton, that many people thought maybe they were a chance to make the 8 this year. They had a lot of young players emerging, and a lot of players like Hamill have been around for a while, and along with Beaumont and Allen. And of course, they still had the great player like Bradley, and also Fraser Brown there as well, and Murphy also an emerging player. And then they got belted in the opening game of the year by the Bombers, but good effort last week against Collingwood, and playing very well now against the Bulldogs. So last year's form standing up.
Well, this player is very important to them. Fraser Brown into half-forward. Oh, strong play by Manton, but the umpires paid the mark. A good mark, too, to Todd Curley under enormous pressure. Curley kicked short. Garlick was pushed in the back. It would have been a free kick, but he took the mark in anyway. Good start to this term. Bradley, Craig Bradley, that brilliant Carlton midfielder, is off the ground with a neck injury. As we see Montgomery go across the ground. Johnson's dropped the mark. He's got the pace to butter up. And he drives it out towards half-forward. He's looking for Ellis. Ellis and Sexton. Pretty good match-up, this one. Craig Ellis has got it. Normally a defender playing on the half-forward line today. In towards Grant. Oh, couldn't quite hang on to it. Mackay has been very, very good again. I thought he was excellent against Collingwood last week. He's playing well again.
Peter, I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Wine comes on. Matthew Allen's having a bit of an influence in the centre square bounces there, so there would be a change there soon.
Well, Chris Grant is yet to take a mark, Pete. Got his hands on the ball a couple of times, but hasn't been able to get enough purchase.
Once again, Allen won in ruck then from the ball up. But the Dogs have turned it over. It comes to Rowan Smith. He drives it long, Smith. Not a bad kick, a beauty.
He does that very well, Rowan Smith. He's a penetrating kick. And that's how the Bulldog kick some quick goals in that first term. All of a sudden, out of the centre, they run straight down the ground. Very penetrating kick. And for Carlton supporters, they can only hope that kicking 2 goals, 7-2 behinds in the second quarter when they dominated the game, that they haven't wasted too many opportunities, because the Bulldogs can score goals quickly.
Well, they did skip to a 3-goal lead. Dogs have it back to 2. That's the Dogs' first goal since the first quarter. So it broke quite a long drought for them. Wind is on the ball. Well called, Couchy. Kicked by West into the pack. Allen's played a game and a half. West gets him with a tackle. Wind floats the hand pass. Winmar getting the hoots of the crowd. Carlton fans can remember the day he had with Franchina last year. Advantage goes. Winmar in trouble. Hand pass. Missed Liberatore. They're losing ground in possession. Through wind it goes to Cameron. Pokes it out wide. Garlick.
Just on the interchange bench for the Western Bulldogs, Simon Cox, Paul Di Martina and Jose Romero, and Luke Darcy's come off.
So here's Garlick's kick, centering the ball to centre half forward. Time by Hudson, but no mark. Taken away by McKay. Now Kuta.
Kutafidis has been very, very good. He's taken Chris Grant right out of the game. His back ball, he's kicked 2 goals. Now Murphy. Back to back ball. This is good play. Can the little fella pick it up? He can. He brings it in towards half forward. It's flicked over the back by White. He races in the goal. Which way will it bounce? Hamill's got it. He's got to run round and snap. He kicks a goal. Great play of the Blues.
Well, 2 goals to Hamill in this 3rd quarter. And great play out wide with Murphy setting it up to young Backwell. And the kick into White, who was very, very unselfish in just chipping across. It nearly didn't come off because the kick had a bit too much carry on the ball. But Hamill here didn't panic, got plenty of support, knew he had plenty of time, and just popped it through.
Ball back in the middle. 18 scoring shots to 10. Ratton gets the ball going Carlton's way again. Follows up with the tackle. Dogs have turned it over. Wines hand pass out wide. Garlick. Liberatore. Forced to go backwards. And Cameron, you're gone! Montgomery still going backwards, the Dogs. Croft finally boots the ball. Back to midfield. Onto the chest of Allen. Played a top game.
Great pressure by Carlton, Drew.
Oh, yeah. Brown. Fraser Brown in his 150th game. 14 possessions, early 3rd quarter. Almost Whitnell. At the back, Montgomery. Support now from the helmeted Marnie, and he looks for the boundary line.
The ball out of bounds, about 55 metres around from the Carlton goal. A lead by 3 goals. Good lead the way this game has been going. Backline playing very, very well. Midfield dangerous. Wind and Allen. Wind takes front position. Oh, magnificent hit out with the left hand to Michael Martin. And Martin drives it low around the boundary line. Grant races at the ball. It's off his chest. And Kutafidis has got the athleticism, Kevin Bartlett, to be with him on every occasion.
And just his presence. Grant has got his hands on the ball a couple of times, but just hasn't been able to hold his marks. And he got a very bad bounce there. That sort of got him up under the chin. Scotty West off the field there. Cox on the interchange with Luke Darcy as well.
Here's Michael Martin. The Tasmanian can run. Nobody in front of him. He takes it all the way. Good chase by Rice. And he forces Martin into the post. Good run down by Dean Rice.
Well, that's 2 posters to the Bulldogs. Nathan Brown had one in the 1st quarter from a set shot. But you've got to chase hard, and Rice did it well. Just means you just can't quite take that one steadying step just to take the pressure off yourself. You've got to do it in full flight, just not able to pull it off.
It would have been a Sunday stroll if Rice hadn't really got on his bike. That was a really good chase.
He should have kicked it a bit earlier, boys. He just didn't trust himself with the kick.
Well, I think he may have fancied he could out-sprint Rice.
Kutafidis coughed it up to Brown. Nathan Brown, good kick.
Well, he's had very little of the ball today, but he is a goal kicker. And the Bulldogs kick goals from a long way out. And Nathan Brown, he's going to be very dangerous because he looks like he's that sort of player, Peter, that he might kick you 3 goals. You're not quite certain whether they'll come in the 1st quarter, the 2nd quarter, might come in the last 15 minutes of the game because he's so dangerous. This is a good kick.
Your father is waiting for you at the police room behind the Elliott stand. And James Wilkinson
Been picked up by young Franchina today, Nathan Brown.
Nathan Brown having plenty to say after he kicked that goal. And already Wine's having an effect in the centre of the ground. He got it down to Garlick. Here's Chris Grant, who, as we said, has been pretty well held. Martin is a very quick player. That's a good kick, a low trajectory run. Whitmar! good, strong mark, and it was the kick in that was low that gave the Blues defenders no hope.
Just Scotty Wine's bodywork in the centre square there. It's just vitally important. When he does that and gives it out to his on-ballers, he's just very dangerous. And the Bulldogs have kicked 2 quick goals here and right back in it.
We were speaking at half-time. Luke Darcy does very well around the ground, but in that centre square, the experience of Scotty Wine pushes the opposition ruckman under the ball, takes it out, feeds the ball off. Mickey's kicked 1 goal in the first quarter.
Well, we're right behind him here as he kicks that goal. It looks pretty good. He's put it through. So the Bulldogs, not to be denied, their supporters are happy. They're coming at the Blues now, Kevin.
Well, just a 5-point ball game. And I think we said, Pete, during the second quarter that when you kick 2 goals, 7-2 behinds, 9 scoring shots to 2, and you don't really hurt the opposition, they've only got to kick a couple of quick goals and all of a sudden the whole structure of the game has changed. So now it's all up for grabs.
Ask North Melbourne after last year's grand final.
That's the classic example.
So now just 1 kick in it after the Blues opened a 3-goal lead. Wine has had an effect on Allen since he came off the bench in this term. Gets in, he makes the tackle in the back though. Carlton's free. It's going to Murphy.
Oh,
Kick by Murphy. Front of the goal square. Marnie laid it like an egg. Camporelli. Oh, great play. Oh, what a goal.
well, Kevin Bartlett, how did he get through that?
Well, that was one great goal by Camporelli. That's a team-lifting goal. Often that really does encourage your teammates to really lift their own efforts when you see an effort single-handedly here. Tapped down that time, Whitmore playing in front. Then Camporelli absolutely mesmerises 4 Bulldogs players to kick that goal. Not one of them could lay a tackle on him. I'm certain Terry Wallace would have been disappointed that not one went straight at him to the hips to bring him down. Instead, he just mesmerised him. Fantastic goal.
That's made the difference, 11 points instead of 5. And, well, as you said, Kevin, that can be team-lifting stuff. That was Johnson. He kicked it, but it was smothered. Taken by Nathan Brown. A hurried kick to the half-forward line. Oh, it was a tunnel ball job. Manton waiting at the back. Took the ball. That was Ange Christou. Further afield to Beaumont. Beaumont goes short. Oh, well taken, Franchino. Now he should have kicked it. He's given it off to Allen. Advantage paid. Umpire calling that a one-on-one contest. Camporelli. Oh, boy. This game changing here as they look. Carlton look like kicking another one.
Well, that was a very good mark too, because Todd Curley has been one of the Bulldogs' better players today in defence. Camporelli was picked up by Liberatore at the start of the game. He obviously was prioritised by Terry Wallace as being one of the danger players. But, of course, up on the forward line, he's not being picked up by Libba.
Well, he's kicking for his second. Oh, he just got it in. It went to the right, but he's kicked it. That's the main thing. Well, the Blues, Kevin, have hit back when the Bulldogs looked like they were coming.
They've booted 4 goals this quarter, 2 by Camporelli and 2 by Aaron Hamill. So they're defending strongly the lead that they took in at half-time, which was 12 points. But I have the feeling this game's going to go right down to the wire.
Yeah. And just maybe a little purple patch here by Scott Camporelli might decide this game. Allen. Liberatore in midfield. Kicks it high to centre-half forward. Gets past Julio. Bit of a fumble by Darcy. Hasn't struck any sort of form the last couple of weeks. The umpire will ball it up. Darcy, 3 marks today, 8 possessions. David Parkin must be delighted with the endeavour of his team. They've scrapped all day and they've manned them up. Backwell looks a really good player from West Brisbane. Hurries kick by Hume. Kicked it back into the pack. Now the Blues off and running. Well played by Curley. Wrapped up by Hume. Franchino breaks clear. Backwell. Oh, yes! Yes, yes, yes! The Queensland kid kicked the goal! Oh, what football! 3 goals.
Well, he's got a lot of class, this young player. He's had Tony Liberatore playing on him. We know how tough Libber is and what a great career he's had. But he takes this mark. It's a fingertip mark. And then he does something which I think is fantastic in a young player. He accelerates straight away. Runs his first 15 metres, doesn't have to bounce the ball, no attempt to bounce the ball, and then kept the ball low and popped it through. Too many players get the ball, bounce it straight away, gives the opposition a chance to pick up a couple of yards, but he just went bang.
Yes, well,
put a space in him.
Quite right, Kevin. Exactly what you said then. And also, as you said, that low kick made a certainty of it. There's a strong tackle on Scotty Wine. Brad Johnson, gee, they need a couple of quick goals here, the Bulldogs. Grant's been very quiet. He's looking for Martin. He's got a lot of pace, Michael Martin. He sprints around and kicks a long, low kick. It's a good kick to Craig Ellis. A low trajectory drop punt, and no backman can stop those. And they need a goal badly here because Carlton have got on top again. Craig Ellis, better known as a centre half back, but last couple of weeks doing a bit up forward. Now here's a great camera shot as he kicks it goal. They've been, oh, it's a wobbly one. Will it make the distance? No, it won't. And he didn't get onto that at all, and it's forced through for a behind when a goal was badly needed.
Nathan Brown's come off and Scotty West has come back on. And there's been another change. Brett Montgomery off and Simon Cox into the half-back line.
He's come down with a bit of a thud today, Brown, from 7 goals last week. Christou clears the 50 to Diulio. 22 points the margin. Kick by Diulio out wide to McKay. Juggles it close to the line. Crunch. Oh, well done by Smith. 2-man tackle, and it's on here. This is where melees can develop, and players have to reach for the checkbook during the week.
Yes, I think Allen felt he was harshly dealt with in that pack.
Just rubbing his nose.
Drew, it's just the old bull against the young bull there, trying to assert his influence on the game.
Well, it's crucial. This ruck duel between Allen and Wine could be crucial to the result.
I agree with you. And Wine brilliantly with the left hand to Cox. Here's West, but he's been under pressure all day. Libber, a quick kick, and it floats out. That's the pressure of the Carlton players, Kevin.
Well, I think they've done that very well all day, Peter. We saw a lot of pushing and shoving before the opening bounce. There was a lot of physical clashes. And the Bulldogs have intimidated a few sides over the last couple of years with their checking of players and their manning up of players, but Carlton's been answering that challenge.
Whitnell flew. Here's Jose Ramiro. He gives it off to Simon Cox. Cox an up and under kick to the centre of the ground. A very important ball here. Carlton are there. Rice breaks the tackle, breaks another one. That's good play. Drives it low. Camporelli at the front. Cameron at the back did very, very well. Libero always under pressure. Back to Cameron. Look at the Carlton player still chasing. He's forced to the boundary line. Cameron, and he's put it out in the full of that gin. He was forced into that error by the Carlton players chasing.
So Hume will take the free kick into play. Third quarter action here from Optus Oval. The co-tenants. A high ball from Hume. Big punch by Cox, but he hasn't cleared the area. Fraser Brown boot the ball. Not a bad centering kick. Christou, no mark, all Carlton. Broke back the goal.
Free kick coming back to the Bulldogs.
Against Whitnell, I think. It might have been Hammond.
So it'll be taken by Brad Johnson. And when the realisation comes to the Carlton fans, they hoop like mad.
So Brad Johnson trying to get it out of that danger area. Punched down by Allen. He's a greatly improved player. Marnie goes to ground. And you can see the scoreboard up in the corner. 71 plays 49. And, well, the Bulldogs are under enormous pressure here. I haven't seen the Carlton side tackle as hard and chase as well for a long, long time. Mind you, the second half of last year was very, very good. They really came home with a wet sail. Here's Backwell. He was looking for Whitnell. Southern doing a pretty good job on Whitnall. West. Ramiro. The Bulldogs trying to get a bit of run going. Talking about run. Here's a guy who can run with the ball. Johnson into half forward. That's good. Ellis. Now this could be 50. No. Not paid. Winmar. Bends it back. They want a mark. It's no mark. They need Darcy and Grant to take marks. Here's Hudson. Kick. He's goal. Hudson has goal. A good one.
The coach always knows best, but Paul Hudson is one of those players who I like to see on the ground all the time because he's a goal kicker. And like I said before, he might kick you 3 goals, but you never know when he's going to kick them. They might come in the first quarter, might come in the last 15 minutes. And that's what Paul Hudson is capable of doing. If he gets 4 kicks, he might kick you 4 goals. Kicked 61 last year from the half-forward flank.
That's a lot of goals for a half-forward.
It's a lot of goals. And that's not to say he was a dominating player in a lot of games, but he would just bob up with a goal here and a goal there.
Good call, and he's given the Dogs a bit of a sniff to come back. Wind in the middle, hurriedly to Garlick, out of the centre square inside the 50. All Dogs here. Smith. He can kick this, Rowan Smith. He can kick long. He didn't go for the score. Out in front of Martin. Giulio tackles. Martin didn't hand pass away. Darcy runs out of room.
I'm with you, Drew. I think Smith...
chance Martin was holding the ball there.
And Smith should have gone for goal.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to be a bit unselfish there, but he's a thumping kick and it was well within range. And when he's in full flight like that, he usually drills them.
16 the difference. Dogs trailing, but in attack here. Can they get it out? It's not goalwards by Carlton. Fumble by Murphy, but well done eventually. Rice has time to steady. Don't often buy that much time in the AFL, especially in this game. Winmar, they're still hooting him after last year's effort. Centering kick and a mark here to Hudson. He's bobbed up twice in a minute.
Well, Kevin, you're being proved right, I think, here.
Well, I don't know about being proved right, but there are some players you can leave on the ground all day when they're having a bad day and they'll never kick your goal. Blokes like Hudson can be having a shocking day and they'll kick you 3 in 3 minutes. It's an important kick for Paul Hudson and the Bulldogs.
He can reduce it to 10 points. Breeze slightly across him left to right. That's how he kicks him.
I think we remember last year in the preliminary final, he booted 5 goals from memory, Paul Hudson, and he was on the bench for some parts of that game as well.
KB, it's hard to get multiple goal kickers at any stage.
Well, last year we actually selected him in the All-Australian side because he was the best goal-kicking small man in the competition, or medium-sized player outside of key position players. And he kicked 61 from the half-forward flank, and there was just no one else in the competition who could come near him as a goal-kicking half-forward flanker. It was a specialist position.
Well, we just saw a shot of David Parker, who looks a little bit more concerned now. 10 points to margin. Blues still in front. They've had all the answers. Centre bounce again, vitally important. The Bulldogs might get it again out of there through Michael Martin. He bends it back to the half-forward line. Over the back is Darcy. He's got some support. Dibertina, he races to 50. It's a high floating kick. Manton waits underneath. Oh, that's a good mark. Under pressure with that floating ball. And he's off and running. He gives it to Dean Rice, who drives it. Oh, dangerous one. Good effort by Smith. He might end up with it here. He does. From West. Smith. Oh, that's holding the ball. That is holding the ball. Franchina, good tackle.
Well, it was a marvellous tackle. And Rowan Smith a bit agitated. The tackle was good.
KB, Michael Sexton's off with a corky.
Do you think we'll see Craig Bradley back?
No, Drew, he's very, very sore on the neck.
Well, that could be pretty serious. That might be long-term.
I think it's just stiffened up. There's nothing too serious with it, but when you get those creak in the necks, it's very hard to get out. And once they lock up, and he's very stiff. It's just a pain in the neck for him, really.
I'm sure it is. Ball out near centre wing. Late in the third quarter. 10 points the margin. The Blues did skip out to a 23-point lead earlier in this quarter. And Wine going against Allen could be crucial. The ball at ground level will be balled up. See, Matthew Allen has got a ruck all day for Carlton. One rested for a quarter and a half. By the end of the game, he might still be going and Allen might be spent.
Well, there's the brilliant Craig Bradley. Now that is Luke Darcy on the bench, receiving some instructions from Terry Wallace. Now this pack out at centre wing, there must be about 16 players around this ball. Wind and Allen. Wind won it with the left hand. And that player for Carlton is Heath.
Peter,
Culpin.
as a player, when you've got about 16 players around the ball, I always felt that you've got 1 in 16 chance of getting the ball. You might as well get out and get some space for yourself and give you a one-on-one contest. I always felt there was a pointless being in a pack of that size.
Yes, good point, Couchy. As we see the umpire about, well, there's a runner being, he might have been told by the umpire to get out of the way. Then Allen might receive a free kick here. No, West, a very, very quick little hand pass. Ratton was in there after it. That Carlton player with number 52 is a young player, Heath Culpin, from Castlemaine, a famous gold mining town up near Bendigo.
Fraser Brown not happy. He can be niggled. Oh, good pick up by McKay. Gee, they're working in tight spaces, all right. Allen didn't have time. West got him.
Ooh.
Martin didn't have time. Brown got him. Free kick, Martin.
Too high. Look at that in the packs. Oh.
There was a bit of venom in that tackle there on Martin. They really wanted to dump him.
This is a real scrap between two teams who clearly aren't happy with each other. Ten points the difference. Kick by Martin to centre half forward. Grant, he's hardly out of sight today, Chris Grant. He needs a goal. Got good chase again by Rice.
I thought once again, I thought he might have pushed Koutafidis out of that marking contest, Kevin.
Well, Dean Rice on screen. Let's have a look. Bit of a shove.
That's twice. He's got away with it.
Actually, Cooter might nearly do a Robert Plomp here. He's only had 5 touches himself, but he's kept Grant quiet, which is a very important thing in this game.
Well, he's had 2 kicks and 5 handballs, Chris Grant, but he hasn't taken a mark.
But will he
And
get
hasn't kicked a score either.
Will he get a TV set for it, though? A famous one, Robert Klomp.
Guess we take yours out of your lounge room, Pete.
and all the guys, Lou Richards and Doug Wade and all the guys who were voting, all blamed each other for giving him the award.
Do you want to donate a video, Pete?
Well, here it is with Cooter, Murphy, Christou. He's going to bend this back towards the half-back area, hoping for a runner to latch onto it. And they do. This is Culpin, Heath Culpin, the young player. Quick hand pass was from Beaumont. Here's the ever reliable Andrew McKay. Ellis goes to ground. Oh, he missed him. Good umpiring because Beaumont came flying over the top, but he actually missed. Oh, look, they're still pushing and shoving behind the play here. There's a lot of feeling in this game. It's at half forward for Carlton. McKay can grab this. There's a free kick, some shepherding going on behind the plate against Fraser Brown, I think, and it'll go to Scott Wines.
Peter, there's a bit of a to-do on the full forward line there with Chris Grant and Koutafidis and Murphy. Have a look at them.
Well, that's way off the ball, and Murphy is very agitated. You don't often see Chris Grant getting involved too much in that, but he wasn't happy down there with Murphy.
Well, that was a bit undisciplined by Murphy then.
Gee whiz. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching. Oh, well done by Wine. But straight back out of bounds.
He's doing a lot of good heavy work, isn't he, Kevin Wine, at the moment?
Well, that's his strength, isn't it? Because he's got this vast experience. He knows when to push and shove, put his body on the line, he feeds it off.
And he might just finish
his
the
hands
game
on
off
the
better
ball.
than Allen. Allen's been great all day, but can you rut all day? Brown buried in Romero's tackle. Look at this!
Whoa! Ringo's Brown. He might have a free kick against him here for diving in late.
I think we can call that stacks on the mill, can't we?
Tell you what, the emergency umpires out there right in the action.
Now, is it a free kick? Well, I thought it was against Fraser Brown for diving in late. Now, that's exactly what he has been. You can't give away indiscriminate free kicks like that, Drew.
Just losing his cool just a touch.
Drew, just one thing that you wouldn't, if you sleep with the light on, you shouldn't be out in this ground here.
Absolutely.
Well, there's Ramiro with blood streaming out, obviously above the eye. Whoa, and he's coming back at Fraser Brown. And that might have been from that last incident that I spoke about where Fraser came in late, and he's having plenty to say to the umpire, but you can't just dive on top of guys. No, he went down.
There was a good tackle by Ramiro there.
So Brown's not happy there. Then just a little bit later, Romero went to get the ball, and Brown came back at him.
So Brad Johnson, it's a vital stage of the game now. Carlton lead by 10 points, and you can't lose your cool. You've got to keep composed, or Grant caught some unwelcome attention then. Rice kicks out in front of Diolio against Liberatore, but good umpiring to come in and bounce. But once you're tackled by Libba, you stay tackled.
That was phenomenal.
There'll be a few sore bodies tonight. There'll be a few bruises, a few aches and pains.
There is a bloke who has got absolutely the very last bit out of every bit of ability he's had. Libba. Here goes Murphy through the unguarded cricket pitch. Beautiful pass. Not quite completed by Beaumont, but he has numbers in support. Ratton looked to chip the ball over. It was smothered by Dimatina. Comes back to Beaumont. White. Ratton from 45 metres. It's close. Oh, I don't know. It just got there. With not 1 centimetre to spare.
6-goal third quarter for Carlton and a 5-goal quarter for the Bulldogs. Gives us an indication. This gives us an indication of the ferocity of this game. And that was a very good goal by Ratton. They had quick hands around the half-forward line then. They fed it out to each other under pressure, but it was a good snap.
So 16 points to margin. The Blues have got all the answers at the moment as Wine, that's his strength, grabs it out of the centre bounce down the half forward, but Franchino wanted that ball desperately. He gets onto the left, he kicks it wide, a beautiful kick finds Diolio, who stabs it low. Well, it was meant for Allen, but Allen looks very, very tired. He's rucked all day. Wine's a little bit fresher. Throw in to take place way out at half forward for the Blues.
Chance just to take a little bit of a breather for the boundary throw-in. Now they're into it again. And it's a hard body contest, as it's been all day. Look at that. Cox eventually the hand pass to Smith. Open space now for the Dogs. Martin goes on with it. Saw trouble coming, had to get rid of it quickly. Montgomery hasn't got the ball, umpire. Martin now skirts the boundary line, centres it to a nest of Bulldogs right in front.
The Carlton player copped one to the face there, White. The umpire should have pinged that.
KB, here's your mate Hudson once more, right in front, 35 metres out.
Well, I'm an admirer of Paul Hudson because he does what he does very well, and that is he makes the most of his opportunities.
Adam White's coming off. He caught one in the solar plexus.
Most of the day on the bench, but Hudson kicks 3 goals in a quarter.
And that's what I mentioned before. 3 goals in a quarter is not unusual for Paul Hudson.
No.
Because you just never know when a guy like that just has that spell where all of a sudden he gets his hands on the ball. Montgomery's been a good player for the Bulldogs today. That's a tough bit of work there on the boundary line, which enabled the ball then to come from Martin to Hudson.
Well, we're back to the middle again. We're getting close to three-quarter time. A vital 1.5 minutes coming up. The Bulldogs again through Garlick. They go forward. Oh, Grant couldn't quite hang on to the mark. And the Blues take it away. Out it comes to centre wing. This is Darren Hume. A goal either end here would be very, very vital. Good kick across the ground. Hamill Aaron Hamill, the Bulldog players getting back. Oh, umpire calls play on. Rice has got it. He runs to 60. Can he bounce it through? It's a long ball. It's a goal. The Blues have got all the answers at the moment.
Well, that was a mighty piece of play then by Dean Rice. Allen just couldn't quite get the mark. The kick was a bit high and gave a chance for Scotty Wine to come over the top. You see Hamill there, just popped it up a bit too high for him, but it was pounced on. He just accelerated here, just gave himself that little bit of extra space, and he's always been a thumping kick. And it went straight through.
Dean Rice has played a great game.
Started at Geelong, went to St Kilda, then came to Carlton, played in the Premiership. It's been a wonderful career.
Giulio roves Wine's hit out. The kick towards the 50. Oh, cleverly palmed back by Ratton. Hamill to Ratton. No, intercepted by West. Gee, it's a hot potato. Beaumont off the left, bringing it back, but not far enough. Out of bounds on the full.
Drew, just an update on Jose Romero. He's had a couple of stitches put in his right eye.
Which means he'll probably be back, so look out, Fraser Brown.
West has found Garlick at half-back. Simon Garlick kicks just over centre wing Grant. Oh, one-hander, but he's lowered his colours today to Koutoufides. First mark of the game. On to Cameron. Oh, fantastic punch away. In goes Hamill. He's caught. Gets in a quick hand pass. Taken by Ange Christou. The centre wing Murphy waits underneath it and marks. Justin Murphy, well, he's a booming kick. He looks for Fraser Brown, but the siren has sounded after a fantastic quarter, Kevin Bartlett.
It was a great quarter of football, with Carlton booting 7 goals and the Bulldogs booting 6. So that's 13 goals kicked in the quarter. You can't ask for a better quarter than that in AFL football. Plus, it had everything else in it. It had some great goals, had some terrific marks, had some ferocious contests. And we're going to go into this last term 83 to 67. So it's a 16-point ball game in favour of Carlton. But I still think this game could go right down to the last dying seconds. So at three-quarter time, Carlton 12-11, 83, lead by 16 points. Western Bulldogs 10-7, 67.
This week's winner is Heather.
Start of the last quarter here at Optus Oval. Can they keep it up? It's been red hot all day. 16-point lead to the Blues. It comes down to Rice. Outside of his foot, kicks up towards the 50. Good mark by Marnie, getting away from the youngster Backwell. Southern back to Marnie. High ball to Curley. Whitnell standing the mark. He's been pretty quiet today. He's just had 5 touches and 3 marks. And importantly, no goals for Lance Whitnell. He kicked 8 in this corresponding game last year. A punch by Koutoufides, who's had the better of Grant and gets the free kick.
It's too high. Round the neck. Chris has had a day he'd rather forget. I think he's fumbled marks and only taken 1 mark. You can see that round the neck. The kick by Koutoufides in towards the half-forward area. Garlick versus Fraser Brown. That was Whitnell. Now Beaumont. Now Ratton. Off the side of the boot and out on the full. So it'll be a Bulldogs kick at half-back. And it'll be Brad Johnson to take it. They need a couple of quick goals to get themselves back in this game. The Carlton defence has been very, very good. Centre wing, Allen couldn't quite hang on to it. Hamill working hard. Grant coming over the back, and the umpire will bounce it.
Peter, the interchange for the Bulldogs is Montgomery, Matthew Croft, Nathan Brown and Jose Romero. Michael Sexton's off with a corky, and doesn't look like Craig Bradley's going to come on for the rest of the day. Bruce, a creak neck and won't be on.
Gee, Nathan Brown, chocolates to boil lollies. 6 possessions today after a 7-goal game last week.
And a couple of their gun players have been down, of course. Chris Grant hasn't had any impact on the game, and Scotty West also. Midfield, well below his best.
Wine spent about a quarter and a half on the bench. Franchino runs the ball over. So it really hasn't got going this last quarter yet. It's just been frantic the first 3 quarters.
Very sorry, Kevin.
Just on the other ledger, though, Danny Sutherland's done a good job on Lance Whitnell.
Yes, he has too.
Well, here's Michael Martin went for a bounce. Franchina Hill, he went for the boundary line. Was that deliberate? No, said the umpire. I thought Martin was going to go for one of his runs then, but he mucked it up. But it's been a tough game, a tough, hard, man-on-man type game, this one. Right from the start, a lot of feeling in it. Garlick has done pretty well. He drives it long, down towards Darcy and Manton, and Kevin Bartlett. Manton has been very, very good.
I think he's had a fantastic game in his 100th game today. He's been close to the best player. He's taken 8 marks. You can see there he's had his 13 possessions. He's been a very good defender.
So a throw in that forward pocket here, Allen trying to get it down now. Free kick against Allen. Or going to Allen, I should say. It was against Darcy. He took front position, Allen. So he did that pretty well, or didn't quite get to Kudafidi, so he's got the time to get onto the left. Good mark, Andrew McKay. He is a good, honest player every week.
Round the boundary line, up towards half-back flank. A juggle there by Hamill, no mark. Chance for the Dogs here. Slight fumble by Diulio. West takes him to ground, holding the ball. Yes, sir. Scott West plays on quickly. Off the left, long kick to the goal square. Ellis. Goal! Darcy got it. Two goals to Luke Darcy, and 10 points the difference.
Just what the Bulldogs needed. 10-point ball game. Luke Darcy now playing in the goal square along with Ellis. Scotty Wine in the ruck. If they can get a little bit more from Scotty West midfield, just to start pumping the ball quickly into the forward line. And we know the Bulldogs can do it very well out of the centre square, Scotty West. And we know that Matthew Allen has been doing all the ruck work today. If he gets a bit tired and Scotty West can get his hands on the ball first, and all of a sudden it's a quick kick out of the centre into the goal square, they'll be under a lot of pressure, the Blues. But they've answered every challenge so far today. 10
points the margin. Blues in front. Allen and Scott Wine. Fraser Brown, quick hands. Dimartina did well. He hooks it back to the half-forward line. No mark to Hudson. Oh, good effort, Franchino. He put his body in. Brad Johnson, he's there also, and the umpire will come in and bounce. But just a quick little hand in there saved a player running away with the ball.
Well, Franchino's picking up Paul Hudson because earlier he had Nathan Brown and did very well. Hudson booting 3 goals in that third quarter. Danger man.
Wine, the big fist. He's looking down there in the direction of Grant, who tries to race it forward. Kudafiti's trying to shuffle it out. Grant's on the bottom of the pack. The umpire will come in and bounce it again.
Carlton are big on winning the milestone games, and today it is the 100th for Manton and the 150th for Brown. They did it for Silvani last week when he played his 250th. They love winning these milestone games, and they've had a real dip today, the Blues. But they're under siege at the moment from the Dogs. Kudafides from centre half back. McKay, he threw that. He tossed it up in the air and then punched it on. Beaumont. The umpires might just put the whistle away in this last quarter. Winmar. It's a hot potato. Murphy burst through the tackle. Good hand pass. Allen, hand pass blocked. Well done, Curley. And Beaumont over the line.
And again, just the indication of the strong tackling that we've seen right throughout this game. And some of the best tackles we've seen for a long time in this game today. Curley pushing and shoving there, got pushed out of the way by Beaumont. Then Nicky Winmar caught him a bit high and a bit unlucky not to get the free.
Dean Rice. Murphy, a very creative player. This is Heath Culpet, the young player, bringing in towards full forward. It floats over the back. Helping it on its way for the Western Bulldogs was Garlick. And it's a behind to the Blues.
Boys, Libber's come off and Nathan Brown's on.
Thank you, Couchy. And Fraser Brown's had plenty to say to the umpires today. And this is obviously a penalty kick. And that's a couple against Fraser. I'm sure David Parkin will say something to him because this is a vital time of the game.
Nathan Brown's just come off the bench, and he's unmarked out wide at half-forward flank. Smith couldn't get it to him. He kicks to centre half-forward. Good mark, Ellis. Grant doubles on. Ellis not sure. Pass or go for the score. Darcy! They wanted a rover in front. Whipped out of there. Carlton. A fumble by Rice. Off the ground, Hudson. Oh, if he'd just given it a little toe poke, Grant was unmarked. But Hudson saw the open goal mouth and now has 3 goals won.
There's Craig Bradley, who has been badly missed. He started in the first term and then a neck injury. I just wonder if they're thinking about bringing him back on as David Parkin and former Richmond great sitting next to him, Barry Richardson. Now, Ange Christo is normally a great kick. He's looking for Allen. Oh, good mark! Top mark, Matthew Allen from behind Chris Grant, and he plays on to Camporelli. He has a bounce. He's a very balanced player, Camporelli. That's a great kick. He finds Beaumont. A goal down would be invaluable to Carlton. He goes back and kicks long. Wine puts himself there. It floats over the mark. Here's Hume. Races in the goal. He's kicked it.
Nine individual goal kickers for Carlton, and young Hume, who last year started to make his mark in the senior side. Handful of games. Beaumont. It was a beautiful left foot kick. Scotty Wine nearly got a hand onto it, and then Hume read it well and nailed it.
Darren Hume, the youngster from the Peninsula, his first goal. Just a bit of breathing space again for the Blues. Wine. Grant was in the middle 4. He's been pretty quiet today, Chris Grant. Beaten by Koutafidis, overrun by Martin, but grabbed by Marnie. Up to Hudson. Franchina with him. Hudson's got it. Dimatina runs on. Good football. He's on the 50. Oh, in the goal square. Darcy. That's a mark. Brown. The umpire's blown the whistle. He's got to do it all over again, which is probably just as well because they've mucked it up.
That's the wrong side of the ground for a left footer, Kevin.
Yes, it's a pretty tight angle. The Blues will certainly need a player to stop him from running around. Now, Dean Rice has cottoned onto that. So he's come in just to stop Darcy from just coming out to his right and trying to get back again on his left boot. There's a bit of goal space open there, Pete. We can see where that camera shot.
Great camera angle. Forward pocket camera. Over the shoulder of Luke Darcy. He's looking for his 3rd.
Good kick.
Pretty good. Oh. Back to 10 points. Well, who is going to win this game?
Well, we said it. We thought it'd go right down to the wire, Drew. But this move of Luke Darcy now into the goal square, they're keeping it pretty open for him as Craig Bradley comes back onto the ground. That's an interesting move because he's always looked pretty sore down the boundary line, and Paul Couch has told us that he's had a bit of a neck injury. That was definitely a mark. Manton was just too late on the scene. So Craig Bradley back on the ground as we see Luke Darcy just slotted that through. And again, the Bulldogs get within 10 points.
Back to the centre, Wind and Allen. Allen got it on the left hand, but straight to West. Scotty West kicks to a one-on-one. Darcy in front. Couldn't mark. He races after it. He can give it off. He does. West. Darcy on the right. Luke Darcy fires away a goal, but he's hooked it and has kicked it behind. Oh, they're coming at the Blues here.
Well, there's plenty of time. It's just under 13 minutes left in the quarter. So there's a lot of football left in this final quarter at Optus Oval.
9 points the margin. At one stage, the Blues led by 23 points at the 16-minute mark in the 3rd term. Koutafidis has done a top job on Grant. Chris Grant's been moved away now. Camporelli out towards the wing. Ratton takes the mark on the logo. Wine makes sure he's not going anywhere. That is guarding the mark pretty well, Scott Wine. Well done. Kick by Ratton. Drop short of Brown. He's after it again, Fraser Brown. Murphy close to the boundary line. Brown didn't have any time. And Culpet, and the umpire comes in and will ball it up. Fraser Brown, will he be celebrating his 150th tonight with 4 premiership points? They're up for grabs.
Wind again, but it's forced on its way by the young player Heath Culpet. David Parkin talking into the phone, giving his directions. Bradley, there he is in the middle of the screen. He's giving a few directions himself. Next goal, vitally important. Well done, Wine. To Cameron, who drives it to Grant. Grant finally slips away from Koutoufides, gives it to Brown. Nathan Brown, he'll kick it low and hooks it just over the head of Glenn Manton, running back desperately. And that was a vital miss, that one.
Brown, 1 goal, 2 today after his 7-goal performance last week. Christou, great to see him back in football after a year out of action. Allen couldn't quite complete the mark. Comes to McKay, left half-back flank, round the boundary line. This kid's looked really good. Brett Backwell from West Brisbane. On to Craig Bradley, who hasn't seen any action since the first quarter. Neck injury, steers it in low, great kick. Class act, Craig Bradley. Murphy marks.
Well, he hasn't had the ball in his hands for nearly 3/4 of the game after going off in that first quarter, and then to come on and then just kick that wonderful kick to Murphy, who's been a damaging player today, Justin Murphy, because he's a good finisher. He's had a lot of the ball, 25 possessions, 6 marks. He's also been a good tackler today, Justin Murphy, and if he can pop this through, he's had a ripper game.
And that just shows how vital that miss was down the other end of the ground by young Brown. You just can't afford to miss those ones running in on your own.
Well, he's got to kick it, Justin Murphy.
Looking for his first score for the day. Well, it gives him something to think about, but I think it's going to be a goal. No! Well, has that left the door ajar?
Oh, that could have been... well, again, that's a bad miss. And I really do believe it's the one skill, I'll say it again, over the years that has not improved is kicking for goal, because I really do miss some. That should have been a lay-down misère, that one, from 25 metres. It's let the Bulldogs in. Cameron. Beaumont read it beautifully. Nice mark. And he wants to play on. The umpire calling him on. He brings it in towards the forward pocket area. That's a good mark to Cameron. Desperation mark. And he wants to play on. He's looking for an option to get a loose man going. And there's the short one. Oh, dangerous. Comes off to West. To Garlick. Garlick stabs it low. Grant starting to take a couple of marks. He's the danger man. Rowan Smith, was he tripped? He was. Play on, says the umpire. Smith drives it long. Brown and Rice. The young player versus the experienced. Well done, Dean Rice. Experienced one out and he forces it to the line.
Trip by hand. What's that worth? Isn't it 50?
Trip by hand. Yeah. At reportable and 50 if it's deemed to be intentional.
Nothing doing for that one. Hudson loses it. High tackle.
High tackle.
Free kick to Grant. He's outside his kicking range here, Chris Grant. We saw him last week. He definitely has the yips from long range. Goes in short. Bradley almost cuts it off. He did touch it. Play on. Darcy. Back to Leon Cameron. He can kick it. Cameron for goal. Gets it.
Well, this never say die spirit of the Bulldogs within 3 points. They trailed by 16 points at 3/4 time. They've now dragged it back to 3 points. Leon Cameron has been one of their better players today, no doubt about that. They've had a number of players who have been down. Some of their guns have really struggled to get in the game. And other players have been spare parts players today. They've sort of been in the game and out of the game. But he has been very consistent, Leon Cameron. And that kick gets him within 3 points.
Leon Cameron showing how to kick a football in. Back to the middle. It's anyone's game now. 3 points in favour of the Blues. Wine working overtime. West. Here come the Bulldogs. Garlick. Long kick. Great mark, Hamill. A terrific mark under enormous pressure. The ball was floating. He gives it off to Ange Christou. The Bulldogs look full of life. Christou waiting for someone to move as he belts it out to the half-forward line. A loose ball, very important. Cameron knocks it on. West. He gives it off to Winmar, who loses it. Oh, that could be a free kick to Carlton here. It is on centre wing, and West doesn't like it.
Crowd of 27,649 here today. There could have been more. There are some spare seats. Co-tenants at Optus Oval. Hamill kicked a couple of goals earlier on. Now in the back half. Oh, McKay, straight through them. Culpet in his first game, but offline. And a behind. Not bad size, Heath Culpet.
Well, the Blues aren't out of the woods yet. There's still 4 points. Rowan Smith, precision kicking, beautiful. To Johnson, to Winmar. Oh, he's got a paddock to run in. Danger for the Blues here. 2 bounces, 3. Will he go over the top? No, he kicks it high. It's not a good kick. Manton in front. It floats over the back. Darcy flew, but Winmar would have been better off dragging it back to the top of the square and putting the pressure on.
Just taking that extra bounce, just pushed him a little bit wider, Pete. Couldn't quite get it back where he wanted to.
Carlton by just 4 points. They've led since early in the second quarter, and by as much as 4 goals. Good tackle by Allen. It's been a he-man performance by Allen today. He has rucked all day.
Drew, Lance Whitnall's come off and Adam White's come on for him.
Well, he's been very quiet, Whitnall. He's had 6 possessions and his goals. Kicked 8 goals in the corresponding game last year. Ellis to Grant. One way, then the other. A snap across the face of goal onto the chest of Manton. And a chance for the Blues to clear again. 92-88, Carlton in front. And we have 7 1/4 minutes left.
Christou, a great kick. That was a fantastic kick to Hamill. Under enormous pressure. Hamill, oh, he's got Bradley on his own. Oh, here comes the champ. 1 bounce. He'll have a shot for goal from 50. Great Bradley. Oh, it's a mark. What a great piece of play. It's Beaumont. I'm pretty sure it's Beaumont has taken the mark. But great play from the Blues. Terrific kick, Kevin Bartlett, first of all. Way down the back there by Christou, and then Bradley.
Yes, and Bradley's kick to Beaumont, who should just pop this through, and he has. So now we see the Blues just extend their lead. A bit of breathing space for Carlton. So 10 points up. And Beaumont, that's his second goal. He kicked a goal in the first quarter. And every time, right throughout this game, the Bulldogs have pressed Carlton in the second half. The Blues keep hitting back. And Bradley, we didn't think was going to come back onto the ground. He was off early with a crook neck. He's come back on. And 2 wonderful kicks in the forward line. Murphy missed the sitter. But that time, Beaumont makes no mistake.
And until a minute ago, that goalmouth contest might have been Whitnall going for it, and he's had a very poor day. Just taken off. Beaumont takes a big mark. Ellis just outside the 50. This game going toing and froing. Jose Romero had an easy shot and hit the post.
Well, he should have kicked it, shouldn't he?
Well, they've hit the post 3 times today, the Bulldogs. One by Jose Romero, one by Michael Martin, and also by Nathan Brown.
Drew, Matthew Allen's come off and Tony Burke's on.
Again, the kick-in has to be spot on. Christou's kicking in has been a delight to watch.
So Allen hasn't quite been able to go the distance. You know, he's off the ground with 6 minutes left. Could be crucial, that.
So Camporelli at half-back drives it wide. The Bulldogs swoop. Oh, brilliant attempt for the Blues, but picking it up is Montgomery. Taken by Hume. Darren Hume, the little fella. Up towards half-forward. Rowan Smith is there. He has it taken away by Hume. That was fantastic stuff. And a great kick. This is White. Adam White. He's centering the ball. Oh, good play. He has found Murphy. 30 metres out, directly in front. He missed one earlier in the term. Can he make amends? And I'll make a statement. If he kicks this, it'll be very, very difficult then for the Bulldogs to come back.
Well, it is an important kick because he did miss one from a wonderful kick before by Craig Bradley. And we saw young Backwell then just bring that ball around the boundary line, found White, who then centred this ball, and Murphy, who had come from down through the centre of the ground, made great position. And this, what an important kick.
Well, there's the kick. The goal umpire goes across. He's happy, Murphy. Let's wait on the goal umpire. It's a goal. All the Blues fans are happy. A big task now for the Western Bulldogs.
Well, there's still plenty of time. There's 5 minutes left. It's a 15-point ball game. And we see young Backwell. This kid's been very impressive from Queensland. He's built at 3 goals. Little margin for error there when finding White, and then a good positioning by Justin Murphy, and then capping it off by kicking truly. They need the ball out of the centre now. They need Scotty Wine to get his hands on the ball first against young Burke, who's just come onto the ground.
15 points the difference. Wine does win it. Down to West. Can pass astray. McKay met solidly. Off to Brown.
Throw.
Bulldogs free kick. Coming to Garlick. Garlick to take it from midfield. Bulldogs need 3 goals to win. Darcy, Brown in front of the pack. Brown again. To the goal square. Ellis unmarked. Oh!
Well, he played on, and he has hit the post from close in. That's 4 times they've hit the post today, the Bulldogs. And 2 posters have come in this final quarter. And there's a lesson by Ange Christou: never ever give up. Keep running, keep chasing, keep tackling. And even at the last second, just enough to make him hit the post for a minor score.
It was harder to hit the post than to kick the goal.
Here's West. Oh, good attempt. Great pickup by Scott West. McKay keeps his eye on the ball.
He's been magnificent, McKay.
Yes. He kicks it across the ground, finds Ange Christou. Is that 50?
No, that's not 50.
No.
That's a Gold Globe award.
No. And a man who's on the rules committee would know that, Kevin Bartlett. The short one is marked. It's Beaumont down there. Kicked the goal a couple of minutes ago. Now he's down there defending. But, oh, gee, that would have kept the minute if he could have kicked that goal, Ellis. Short kick. Comes into Koutafidis. Koutafidis has done a terrific job on Grant. They're starting to chip it around. Beaumont, oh, he's going short as well. They're doing the old Essendon tactic. So's Ange Christou to his mate. Koutafidis, will he go back as well?
They started with 3.5 minutes to go.
Well, there's another short one. They're just trying to run the clock down with 3.5 minutes to go, and White's got it. I'll leave it to you, Drew.
Could be a lot of fun, this 3.5 minutes. White goes for a bit more distance. Big pack gathers near centre wing. Hamill high, no mark. Dogs have it. Smith. Rowan Smith going for a big run. Steers it low past Ellis. On the bounce to Darcy. He turns across the ground to Hudson. Number 4 to Paul Hudson.
All of his goals have come after half-time. He kicked 3 goals in that 3rd term. And 2.5 minutes left in the game. So the Bulldogs are not without a chance.
Certainly time enough to win it.
Just 8 points. The centre bounce again. Scotty Wine got his hands on the ball last time, Pete. Against young Burke with his experience.
Well, 2 kicks in it. Can the Bulldogs snatch a victory? Wine again gets his hands to it. Fraser Brown in after it. Hand passes over his head. It's tapped down. Koutafidis, well done. Caught high, said the umpire. And Anthony Koutafidis takes the free kick. He goes across the ground to Beaumont. I'd say a goal. Well, a goal here to Carlton would shut the gate. Beaumont races into the inside 50. Up to full forward. It's no mark. Cox makes a certainty of it, puts it through for a behind with just over 2 minutes left in this game. There's still 2 kicks in it.
2 goals for the Dogs can win it. Nail-biting couple of minutes for David Parkin and his support group. Blues have led since early in the second quarter.
50.
Whoa, a big 50 metres here. Camporelli getting over the mark.
That could be costly, Kevin.
Well, one would expect we've got 2 minutes left. He's got Darcy, who's booted a couple of goals in this last quarter in the goal square. So Darcy's the target.
Just on the 50. Dimitina's hand pass is intercepted. Good scrap by Winmar. Ball still up for grabs. And holding the ball, Dogs free kick.
That was tough.
I was a bit worried about man. He did a wonderful interception. Then he was over the top of the ball and he wasn't really attempting to get it out. I was concerned that the umpire was going to ping him. He gave him a little bit extra time, but in the end he said enough's enough, Pete.
Oh, I still reckon it was a bit tough.
That's the rule.
Could Nicky Winmar ping this for his third? No, won't make it. They want a mark. Oh, they've got a mark! Chris Grant!
Didn't pay it.
No. It's off hands and through for a point.
No!
Yeah, there's a goal! I'm sorry, I missed who kicked it because I thought it was a mark to Chris Grant.
Ellis. I think Ellis got it.
Well, if the Bulldogs get up here,
Chris
Kevin,
Grant wanted the mark, and everyone was looking at Grant, who was appealing, but Ellis might have been the one who actually got his foot to the ball. Ellis is in the goal square, and there it is. He's got it.
now there's 1 kick in it. 3 points the margin. We've got 1 minute and 15 seconds left in. I'll tell you what, if the Bulldogs win this, they have absolutely pinched it. But it would be a good performance. Here's Ratton. Gets his boot to it. Oh, it's a loose ball. It's on centre wing. Kudavides has got the pace. Grant's after him. He's got him. He's got support. The young player, Heath Carlton. Oh, he's put it out in the full under enormous pressure. Bulldogs have got the ball on centre wing.
58 seconds left, Pete.
58 seconds, and Rowan Smith, and no, it's Dimitina. Over to Smith, and Smith goes forward.
Outside the 50. Ellis who kicked that last goal. Winmar, blind hand pass. Brown's got it. Great tackle by Colt with the first gamer. He's turned the ball over, but the Dogs have it back through West. Hurried kick, Dimitina. Deep inside 50. They want something on the forward line. Cox is there. Crowd screaming. Last minute. Brown, a hurried snap offline. And through for a minor score. Nathan Brown, who kicked 7 goals last week. Today he's kicked 1 goal, 3. And the Dogs trail by 2 points.
And Paul Hudson was loose by himself, 25 metres out, but Brown under pressure couldn't see him. There was no way no one had the vision to see him over his right-hand shoulder.
Look at the pressure in the coach's box. 31 seconds of play left. Pressure on Ange Christou. He kicks it long. Chris Grant, he'll mark it. No, he won't. Over the back. Oh, fumble by Cameron. Let's culprit him. White. Oh, I reckon the Blues will win it now. Beaumont's got it on centre wing. Time clock ticking down. Oh, that little fumble, just so important.
Manton just called for it back, Pete. They want to play keepings off now.
Oh, here they go.
10 seconds left, 9.
Brown's got it. 7 seconds, 5 seconds. Time clock ticking down. The Blues have won this game. Matt probably deserved to finish up with the ball, Drew.
And the 2 blokes who shared it right at the end were the blokes having a milestone game. Manton and Brown, and the Blues win by 2 points.
What a game, Kevin Bartlett.
It was a fantastic game, Pete. We said right throughout this game that the way they were playing and scoring, that this game would go right down to the wire, because Carlton got on top. The Western Bulldogs kept coming back. Carlton seemed to always have the answers, but it was a mighty last turn by the Western Bulldogs. They went into it 16 points down. They finally got within 2 points, but it was an absolute ripper game. So many good players for Carlton. I think the Bulldogs didn't have as many good players today. In the end, a few of their stars got a bit of a wriggle on and helped contribute. But I thought today that Justin Murphy was very good for Carlton. He finishes off his work. I was impressed with his work rate today. I thought McKay on screen, number 5 there, was an exceptional defender for them. And Manton, who that free kick went against him in the closing seconds of the game. thought he also had a very, very good game. Leon Cameron battled hard for the Western Bulldogs. He was one of their better players all day. I thought also Brad Johnson at different stages of the game showed his class. Had a few players coming in and out of the game regularly. Grant struggled for virtually the entire game against Koutafidis. Sometimes he dropped his marks, not the full defensive player Koutafidis, but his confidence didn't seem to be there. And right at the end of the game, when Chris Grant could have taken that mark from the kick out, he had it, but again, it just went through the fingers. It was one of those days for Chris Grant where he just couldn't quite hang on to his marks. I think we mentioned during the game he took his first mark, I think, in the last quarter, close to the last term. And therefore, without their star players today, they battled pretty well, the Bulldogs, but no Silvani. Sexton went off during the course of the game. Bradley also was off for most of the game. So, on the balance of stars, it was pretty even being out.
And I thought also, Kevin, that under the circumstances, with the tough game there was, I reckon the umpiring was outstanding, considering the tightness of the game and the tough physical clashes. I reckon they handled it brilliantly.
Well, I wasn't concerned with the umpiring at any stage, Pete, so that might be an indication that
they were good.
They were doing a pretty darn good job.
This has been a Fox Footy presentation, part of the Fox Sports Network.